on?
Have you ever realized that falling in love feels a lot like giving someone else permission to completely ruin your life?
A flame princess!
Okay, maybe that's a bit dramatic. But seriously, love has a sneaky way of turning us into emotional piñatas, just waiting for someone to swing. And nobody learns this lesson more painfully than Finn himself. Sure, he's great at battling monsters, saving kingdoms, and generally being heroic, but romance? That's a quest even Finn can't seem to conquer.
You blew it.
Honestly, Finn's love life should come with a disclaimer. Warning, may cause secondhand embarrassment.
You really gotta move on.
Same, Finn. Same. Every time he confesses his feelings, he faces rejection.
I got dumped.
Sheesh, when is he going to take the hint? It's a direct hit straight to our collective cringe muscle. But here's the twist. Amid all the embarrassing confessions and awkward breakups, something genuinely interesting starts happening to Finn. He's not just tripping over his feelings anymore. He's figuring out how to pick himself up again, even if it means getting knocked down repeatedly by Cupid's merciless arrows. Today we're exploring the episode where Finn discovers that love isn't always unicorns and rainbows. Sometimes it's thunderstorms, quicksand, and desperately hoping you wore your floaties. But maybe, just maybe, Finn's messy, awkward attempts at love aren't weaknesses at all. Maybe they're the bravest moments he's ever had. Stick around, because by the end, you'll definitely see Finn, and probably your own love life, in a hilariously relatable, entirely new way. All right, let's set the scene. Finn's romantic history isn't exactly smooth sailing. Actually, it's closer to whitewater rafting blindfolded, without a paddle. But to grasp why love hits Finn so hard, let's quickly revisit two key episodes, Burning Low and Too Young. First, picture Finn finally dating Flame Princess. At first, it's fireworks, literally. Cute moments, sweet gestures, flames burning bright. Everything's perfect, until Princess Bubblegum steps in with some relationship advice no one wants to hear.
Finn tries to kiss her, she'll burn so hot, she'll melt right through the planet's crust.
Talk about relationship red flags. You know, casual stuff like might destroy civilization as we know it. But Finn doesn't see danger. He sees meddling. PB's warnings trigger something deeper. One moment he's wrapped in blissful ignorance, and the next he's snapping back.
Now you like me? I was in love with you! Well, I'm done! I'm done.
Relatable? Absolutely. We've all been there, defensively lashing out because deep down we're afraid someone else might actually be right. He's not really yelling at PB though. He's battling his own unresolved feelings from what's happened to PB and Finn. Let's rewind even way earlier, back to the episode Too Young. Princess Bubblegum temporarily becomes a teenager,
Oh, dang it! Well, I'm out of here. Goodbye, everyone.
finally close to Finn's age. And Finn, bless his overly enthusiastic heart, immediately gets his hopes way up.
Whoa!
He doesn't just open up, he leaps without looking, setting himself up for a fall that's as painful as it is awkward. But there's a deeper question we're still missing. Why exactly does love leave Finn? And frankly, all of us feeling so incredibly defenseless?
Tell me!
So, when Princess Bubblegum suddenly turns into a teenager, Finn sees nothing but possibilities. Finn practically floats into the Candy Kingdom, eyes glazed over with romantic optimism. You can practically see the cartoon heart spinning in his eyes.
Good, man.
Nice! Seal the deal, bro!
Finn jumps in heart first, tossing away every scrap of emotional armor and all common sense along with it. He's certain that if he just believes hard enough, love will magically fall into place. Every minor interaction sends him spiraling with excitement. For a brief, glorious moment, he's soaring high. Maybe too high. You know that feeling right before you trip over your own shoelaces in public? Yeah, Finn's heading exactly there emotionally. But PB being, well, PB inevitably reverts to her adult self. Finn's romantic dreams crash harder than a badly piloted candy spaceship. In an instant, his hopeful fantasy collapses into awkward humiliation. remember that painfully awkward whisper from Finn.
Do you want to hug some more?
What? Such a silly boy.
That line hits like a punch in the gut. It's not just embarrassing, it's heartbreaking. Here, Finn wasn't just vulnerable, he was vulnerable in the worst possible way. Instead of honestly confronting his emotions, he placed his entire emotional state on PB's fleeting validation. What Finn hadn't figured out yet was the huge difference between being openly honest about your feelings and throwing yourself blindly into emotional chaos. One builds real connections, the other almost always ends badly, usually with embarrassment or heartbreak, or both.
Bye, Finn.
But here's why that awkward moment in Too Young matters so much. It sets Finn up to finally get vulnerability right later in Burning Low. So, what does it actually look like when Finn handles vulnerability well? Let's dive into the moments when he realizes that vulnerability doesn't always have to end in disaster. Sometimes, it's actually the bravest move he can make. Let's face it, love can be terrifying.
Why can't I just like a girl?
For Finn, romance isn't battling monsters. It's willingly removing his armor in front of a dragon and hoping it doesn't breathe fire. Turns out dragons are easier to handle than emotional honesty. Who knew? When Finn starts dating Flame Princess, things initially seem perfect, perhaps suspiciously perfect. Early in the episode, we see Finn and Flame Princess laughing and genuinely enjoying each other's company.
Do the thing that I like.
It's innocent and playful. On the way home, Jake tries to give Finn dating advice on dating and climbing up the 15 tiers.
What about tier 15?
Stay away from that. Do not do tier 15.
Dude, I got no idea what you're talking about.
Just when we thought things are finally looking up for Finn's love life, things quickly become complicated.
Sup, guys?
Princess Bubblegum?
When Princess Bubblegum visits to collect taxes and finds out about his new romance,
He's hanging out with Flame Princess.
What? This isn't possible.
PB immediately panics, not out of jealousy, but genuine concern. She urgently explains to Jake how Flame Princess's emotions could literally incinerate the world.
Jake! Wake up!
But Jake misunderstands and completely misinterprets her reaction as envy. Jake shares this misunderstanding with Finn, suggesting PB is jealous.
She doesn't want you to see Flame Princess anymore. She's crazy jealous.
Rather than feeling triumphant, Finn is visibly conflicted. This creates emotional confusion. Finn's unresolved feelings for PB are quietly reignited, complicating his fresh romance with Flame Princess. Jake, shifting the conversation to Flame Princess and his dating tiers, casually suggests Finn channel these feelings into poetry to get him to tier 2. Later, in a moment of honest uncertainty, Finn tries to express to Jake how Flame Princess makes him feel.
She's bright. She's beautiful. She makes me feel confused. Like something's filling up my chest. Like I can't breathe.
Finn turns towards Jake to see he has fallen asleep. We all have that kind of friend. They're a keeper. He ponders on what he says as he looks up at the ceiling. Finn takes this seriously, sitting outside quietly reflecting on his emotions as the sun rises.
Inspiration.
Just as Finn finds inspiration, Princess Bubblegum interrupts,
Finn!
mistakenly believing Finn understands why he must break things off with Flame Princess. PB says softly but firmly,
Finn, sometimes you want someone, but you can't because responsibility demands sacrifice.
Finn, frustrated and increasingly confused, replies sharply,
What are you trying to say?
Bubblegum, trying to be clear but unknowingly hurting Finn more deeply, tells him,
I'm trying to say that you're a hero, Finn. You're my hero.
Finn finally snaps, no longer able to hold back his raw truth.
Bubblegum, I can't do this anymore.
What?
Now you like me? I was in love with you. Well, I'm done. I'm done.
Finn's confession isn't just angry, it's heartbreakingly vulnerable. In this moment, Finn openly confronts the pain and confusion he's carried silently. He's emotionally exposed, hurt, and humiliated, realizing he'd placed far too much emotional security in PB's validation. His reaction clearly reveals how deeply vulnerability can reopen old wounds, especially when we don't address them directly. Finn didn't just express frustration, he expressed the deep hurt he'd hidden behind his hero persona. This raw honesty isn't Finn losing control, it's Finn finally gaining emotional clarity by openly acknowledging his wounds. This emotional breakthrough clearly illustrates the difference between surface-level bravery and genuine emotional courage. Finn isn't fighting a villain. He's confronting something far more frightening, his own emotional truth. And although Finn doesn't fully grasp it yet, this painful honesty is the first step toward true emotional growth.
Do not do tier 15!
At first glance, Finn's emotional outburst looks like he's completely lost control, like someone who's accidentally stepped on an emotional landmine. But look closer. This moment of raw honesty is the first real step toward Finn's emotional growth. Before this, Finn managed romantic rejection with bravado, jokes, or awkward silences. This time, however, he openly confronts PB, expressing exactly how deeply her rejection hurt. Sure, it's messy, but it's also real, and real is something new for Finn. Remember Brené Brown's insight? What makes you vulnerable makes you beautiful. Here, Finn isn't naively hoping everything will magically work out, like he did before. Instead, he's openly facing his own confusion, hurt, and frustration. By acknowledging these messy emotions, Finn unknowingly starts moving toward emotional maturity. It doesn't solve everything, but it frees him from pretending he's fine. For the first time, he openly says what hurts, and why. It's uncomfortable, awkward, and messy, but genuine. Finn realizes vulnerability doesn't require perfection. It requires honesty. Finn begins to see that he doesn't need to hide his emotions or pretend he's invincible. He just needs to be honest, even when it feels uncomfortable. And while he hasn't mastered this, he's finally heading in the right emotional direction.
Jealous?
Finn's journey clearly shows that real vulnerability isn't about recklessly throwing yourself into emotional chaos.
I need you to be okay.
It's about carefully admitting uncomfortable truths, even when it's scary. The difference might seem small, but it matters immensely. In Too Young, Finn recklessly placed his emotional stability entirely in PB's fleeting validation. It was vulnerability without boundaries, like jumping into an emotional pit trap without looking. But in Burning Low, Finn's approach shifts. His vulnerability becomes intentional. When he admits to Jake how confused he feels,
Like something's filling up my chest, like I can't breathe.
and later honestly confronts PB about past hurts,
Well, I'm done. I'm done.
he's not recklessly seeking validation. He's clearly demanding honesty. Practically, this distinction matters hugely. Genuine vulnerability means understanding exactly what you're risking. It means acknowledging your own limits and fears clearly, rather than expecting someone else to manage your emotional well-being. Importantly, Finn's friends react differently now because he's different. Even though Jake falls asleep, he doesn't dismiss Finn's confusion. He quietly offers support, even in his sleep-deprived way. PB finally understands Finn better when he openly expresses his pain. In real life, embracing this kind of vulnerability means clearly and calmly acknowledging uncomfortable emotions without expecting immediate fixes. It means having difficult conversations even when it feels terrifying. Finn doesn't get this perfect overnight, but he's learning emotional honesty isn't weakness, it's strength. This approach doesn't guarantee perfect relationships. Finn still experiences emotional storms, misunderstandings, and embarrassment. But openness guarantees something crucial: authenticity. Messy, awkward, yet deeply genuine connections. Watching Finn awkwardly navigate this shift might encourage us to realize we don't have to pretend to be fearless in relationships. Maybe we just need the courage to honestly admit when we're afraid, confused, or hurting. And that's not weakness. That's probably the bravest thing we'll ever do. So there you have it. Finn started out terrified of love, stumbled through emotional quicksand, and ultimately discovered something pretty amazing. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's courage. It's daring to show your real self even when that self is awkward, uncertain, or maybe a little clueless. Finn realized something we all secretly know. Love isn't safe or predictable, but it's worth the risk.
She's stabilized.
Because at the end of the day, the relationships worth having are the ones where you don't have to pretend. Now, be honest. Can you think of a moment when opening up about your feelings actually made things better? Or maybe a time it didn't go so well?
Sorry.
Such a silly boy.
Drop your story below. Let's talk about it. Opening up is scary. Almost as scary as reading the comments section.
You should be ashamed! You're sick!
But let's risk it anyway. And if you enjoyed nerding out about Finn's love life as much as I did, hit that subscribe button. But don't stop there. Tell me which Adventure Time topic or character you'd like me to dive into next.
Coochie, coochie, coochie.
Catch you in the next one, fellow adventurers.
Finn!